I was sitting at the dinner table with my entire family when my father looked at me and said something that made my blood run cold. If you don't show up at your sister's wedding next month, you can forget about us paying for your college. We're done supporting you. My mother nodded beside him and added, "Your sister's wedding is more important than your studies right now. Family comes first." I didn't say anything at first. I just looked at both of them. Drop your verdict in the comments before the story begins. Let's see if you're right by the end. And if you love revenge stories, don't forget to like and subscribe. My name is Lila Voss, and this is the story of how my parents tried to blackmail me with my own education, and how I made them regret it more than they ever imagined. I was 23 years old and in my final year of university. My parents had been paying for my tuition since I started college, but there was always a condition. I had to remain the obedient daughter. My younger brother Ethan was their golden child. He could do no wrong in their eyes. He had dropped out of college twice, started and failed 2 businesses, and was still living off my parents' money at 25, yet they never once threatened to cut him off. I, on the other hand, had been working extremely hard. I was studying business and finance, maintaining a perfect GPA, and secretly working part-time jobs to save money. What my parents didn't know was that 6 months earlier, I had already graduated. Yes, I had finished my degree early by taking extra classes and studying during every break. I had even landed a job at a well-known investment firm and was already earning more than both my parents combined. But I never told them. I wanted to see how far they would go with their control. That night at dinner, when my father gave me the ultimatum about my sister's wedding, I stayed calm. I looked at him and asked, "So if I don't attend the wedding, you'll stop paying for my college?" My father nodded without any hesitation. "Exactly. You either show up and behave like a proper daughter, or you can figure out your own tuition from now on." My mother added, "Your sister's wedding is more important than your studies right now. Family comes first." I didn't say anything at first. I just looked at both of them. Then looked at both of them and said something that completely changed the atmosphere at the table. "I don't need your money anymore." My father frowned. "What did you just say?" I pushed my chair back slowly and stood up. I looked at my father, then at my mother, and said in a calm but firm voice, "I graduated 6 months ago. I'm already working, and I'm earning more than both of you combined." The entire table went silent. My father's face turned red. My mother looked like she had seen a ghost. Even my brother stopped eating and stared at me. My father slammed his hand on the table and shouted, "You're lying. You think you can fool us with these stories?" I didn't raise my voice. I simply picked up my phone, opened my university portal, and showed them my graduation certificate and current job offer letter. My mother's hands started shaking as she read the documents. My father's face went from red to pale within seconds. I looked at both of them one last time and said, "You threatened to cut off my tuition over a wedding, but I don't need your money. What I do need is for you to stop controlling my life." I picked up my bag and walked toward the door. Before leaving, I turned around and said something that left them completely speechless. "By the way, I already bought my own apartment last month. I don't need anything from you." I walked out of the house without looking back. That night, as I drove back to my apartment, I knew this was just the beginning. My parents were not going to let this go easily. They had lost control over me, and people like them don't accept defeat quietly. What I didn't know was that they were already planning something much worse. The moment I walked out of the house, I knew my parents wouldn't stay quiet. People like them don't lose control easily, especially when it comes to money and reputation. The very next morning, my phone started ringing nonstop. My mother called me 11 times. My father called me 7 times. I didn't pick up even once. I knew exactly what they wanted. They wanted to shout, threaten, and emotionally blackmail me into attending my sister's wedding. But what I didn't expect was what they did next. 2 days later, I received an email from my company's HR department. The subject line read, "Urgent meeting regarding your conduct." I felt my stomach drop. When I reached the office, the HR manager was already waiting for me along with my team lead. They looked uncomfortable. The HR manager cleared his throat and said, "Lila, we received a complaint about you. Someone called our office and claimed that you have been involved in some financial irregularities and that you're currently facing family issues that might affect your work." I was stunned. "Who made this complaint?" I asked. The HR manager hesitated for a second, then said, "It was an anonymous call, but the person claimed to be your father. He said you've been stealing money from the family and that you're mentally unstable. He even mentioned that you might not be fit to handle client accounts." I felt my blood boil. My own father had called my workplace and tried to get me fired. I took a deep breath and replied calmly, "That's a false complaint. My father is angry because I refused to attend my sister's wedding. This is his way of punishing me." My team lead looked at me sympathetically and said, "We have to investigate this, Lila. Even if it's false, we can't ignore a complaint like this." I nodded. I already knew what I had to do. That same evening, I went to my lawyer's office. I showed him the messages and call records where my father had threatened to cut off my tuition if I didn't attend the wedding. I also showed him proof of my graduation and current salary. My lawyer leaned back in his chair and said, "This is serious, Lila. What your father did can be considered defamation and harassment in a professional setting. We can send a legal notice to both your parents." I looked at him and replied, "Do it. I'm done being threatened and controlled by them." 2 days later, my lawyer sent a legal notice to my parents. The notice clearly stated that if they contacted my workplace again or tried to damage my reputation, we would take legal action against them. I thought this would stop them. I was wrong. On the morning of my sister's wedding, I received a message from an unknown number. It was a video. When I opened it, my blood ran cold. It was a video of me from 3 years ago when I was in college and going through a very bad phase after a breakup. In the video, I was crying and saying things like, "I don't want to live anymore." It was a private moment I had shared with my then best friend. Now that video was being circulated in our family group. My father had sent it to every relative with a message, "This is what your niece/sister has become. She's mentally unstable. Don't believe anything she says." I sat on my bed, staring at my phone, feeling a mix of anger and humiliation. They weren't just trying to control me anymore. They were trying to destroy me. That same afternoon, while I was still processing everything, I received another message, this time from my sister. She wrote, "Lila, please don't create drama on my wedding day. Just come for a few hours. Dad is saying he'll cancel the wedding if you don't show up. Please don't ruin this for me." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed a reply. But before sending it, I paused because I had already made a decision that would change everything. I stared at my sister's message for a long time. She was begging me to come to the wedding so our father wouldn't cancel it. But I had already made up my mind. I wasn't going to be blackmailed anymore. On the morning of the wedding, I got ready. I wore a simple but elegant black dress, not the fancy outfit my mother had chosen for me weeks ago. I didn't wear any of the jewelry she had forced on me either. I looked calm, confident, and completely in control. When I reached the wedding venue, the atmosphere was tense. My mother saw me first. Her face went pale, then turned red with anger. She quickly walked up to me and whispered harshly, "You finally decided to show up? Good, now behave yourself. Don't create any drama." I looked at her and replied calmly, "I'm not here to create drama, Mom. I'm here to end it." She didn't understand what I meant. During the reception, after the couple had taken photos and everyone was seated, my father stood up to give a speech. He was proudly talking about family values, sacrifice, and how important it was for everyone to stay together. That's when I stood up. The entire hall went quiet as I walked toward the stage. My father stopped speaking mid-sentence. My mother looked like she wanted to disappear. My sister's face turned white. I took the microphone from my father's hand and looked at the crowd. "I wasn't planning to speak today," I said, my voice steady. "But after everything that has happened, I think it's time the truth comes out." I looked directly at my parents. 6 months ago, I graduated from university. I finished at the top of my class. I already have a job and I'm earning more than both of my parents combined. But none of you knew that because you were too busy controlling me. A wave of whispers spread across the hall. I continued. My father threatened to stop paying my tuition if I didn't attend this wedding. He even called my company and tried to get me fired by lying about me. And when that didn't work, he shared a private video of me from years ago with the entire family to humiliate me. My father's face had turned completely red. My mother looked down at the table, unable to meet anyone's eyes. I looked at my sister and said, "I'm sorry if this ruins your day, but I'm done staying quiet. I'm done being treated like I don't matter just because I refuse to follow their orders." I turned back to my parents one last time. "From today onwards, I want nothing to do with either of you. Don't call me, don't message me, and don't ever try to control my life again." I placed the microphone back on the stand and walked out of the wedding hall without looking back. The entire venue was dead silent. That day, I didn't just attend the wedding, I ended my relationship with my parents in front of everyone. After that day, my parents tried to reach out multiple times. My father even showed up at my apartment once, but I didn't open the door. My mother sent emotional messages saying that I had destroyed the family. I didn't reply to any of them. My sister tried to contact me a few times, but our relationship was also damaged. She had stayed silent while our parents tried to control and humiliate me. That silence said enough.
Today, almost a year has passed since that wedding day. I'm doing better than ever. I got promoted at my job and recently bought my own apartment. I'm living life on my own terms, without anyone threatening or controlling me. Sometimes I think about that dinner when my father gave me the ultimatum about the wedding. If he hadn't tried to blackmail me with my education, maybe things would have been different. But his need to control me eventually cost him everything: his daughter, his reputation, and his peace. I learned something very important. When people try to control you using the things you need the most, like education or money, don't beg them. Become so independent that their threats no longer have any power over you. Because the day you stop needing them is the day they lose all control. Was it justice or was it too much? Share your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe for more revenge stories.